I am called Abima Stephen from Uganda. I work with Amalgamated Transport and General Workers Union. It's a union we started in 1938. We organize workers in aviation, roads, private security groups, and property maintenance. Our union is focused in organizing workers both in formal sector and in informal sector. Our experience of organizing workers in the informal sector started in 2007 when ITF organized workers for the precarious workers organizing in Zambia. When we came back from Zambia, we started organizing with Entebbe Airport Taxi. Entebbe Airport Taxi at that time had 200 members. As time went on, last year 2014, ITF brought the issue of informal sectors strongly that they need to be organized because they are lacking representation. Fortunately, the Congress, ILO Congress, last year also took the issue of informal sector very seriously. As I'm speaking now, Amalgamated Transport and General Workers Union has come up with a model of organizing workers in the informal sector. The model we are using is affiliating associations into the union. Apart from the airport taxi, which we affiliated since long 2007, we have now affiliated 9 other associations into the union. It has brought a total of 4,373 members from the informal sector, where 730 are women and the rest are men. So we find it very interesting to bring on board the informal sector workers because they need protection, and that's the protection which can only be given by the union, because by law in Uganda it's only the unions which can carry out collective bargaining, not associations. Informal sector workers really have challenges. I may mention few, but I want to be very particular. The places which are gazetted for informal sector workers to do work are not very definite. For instance, the transport sector workers, their workplace is the road. And when you get drivers, when you get conductors, when you get mechanics, either mechanics are in the garage, drivers are on the road with the conductors, but that's the workplace. Sometimes they have challenges of parking space. Where do they park their vehicles? Where do they operate? And sometimes those are some challenges. Getting a conducive workplace environment is the first challenge, I may say, the transport workers are facing. 2, many of these truck drivers, taxi operators do not have contracts of employment. They work without contracts, and actually they don't have job security. Many of them don't have social protection. Women are very few in transport sector, particularly as drivers, conductors. They're very few. The reason being that traditionally the society does not look at women to work in that sector of the economy. That's why there are very few women in that sector. The attitude towards women in the informal sector, particularly driving, is a very negative. Incidentally, you will find a lot of women now doing vending, and vending has low income. Definitely it leaves the women perpetually poor. Their incomes are very low, and this one results into vicious circle of poverty among women. So it's a very big challenge to see to it that women are brought on board so that they can be better drivers, better conductors, so that really their income can also go up. But generally in Uganda there's no minimum wage. Whether you try to fight for women or not, the issue of minimum wage, if it's not addressed, the benchmark for somebody's income cannot be determined. So it's a very big challenge. Another issue I can bring as a challenge affecting transport workers is their relationship with the traffic police. The traffic police sometimes are very strict, and sometimes they're a bit harsh to the drivers. So in that relations, they need real assistance. That's why if these members join the association, they will be able to be helped through the associations, and above all, when the associations are affiliated to the union will bargain for them and come up with a better working environment, better policies, and really issues pertaining the workers in transport sector can be improved because the union has better technical people to address issues in transport than the drivers themselves or the workers in the transport sector, who may not be very much technical in addressing issues. Really, I'm really hopeful because if you take the current statistics of population in Uganda, which was released by Bureau of Statistics, in Uganda the population is about 35 million, and people who are employed in formal sector are about 3 million. And if you take a population of about 13 million for people below 18, then the majority of the workers in the country are in informal sector. And if these informal sector people are properly sensitized, educated, and organized, really the unions stand a lot of chances to benefit from informal sector because they are the majority. They are the people who provide the workforce in the country. Their contribution to economic development and GDP is very high, but sometimes it's not taken into consideration. So this can only be brought up properly if the unions organize the informal sector, and whatever activity they do is documented. Then you will realize that the informal sector is doing a lot, not only to the GDP of the country, but it will also put unions in a better position, because the more members you have in the union, the better. We believe in numbers. The more people you have, your voices can be heard. The more people you have, your income can be increased. Even if any informal worker gives you $1 per month, and there are very many, definitely the union will have income which it can use for sustaining itself and for running better programs for informal sector and organizing them better to understand their rights, and their interests will be accommodated. Yeah, I have one or two comments to make. I want to thank ITF, International Transport Workers Federation, for the support they're trying to give to mentor unions. They're trying to give to unions in transport sector in trying to ensure that they work very well to help the informal sector workers. Otherwise, I would believe it's ITF which has taken the issue of informal sector workers more seriously than any other organization, and the unions have also taken the matter up seriously. But above all, in Uganda, it's only Amalgamated Transport and General Workers Union that has gone very far in organizing workers in the informal sector. So I need to thank ITF, and we're also appealing to ITF to do more, because the demand is so high on the ground. When you bring on board an association, the same association can bring another association. In other words, it has multiplier effect. And the unions are not prepared to accommodate the growing number of associations that would like to join the union in terms of affiliation. So really ITF need to prepare itself beyond what it's doing now, so that we can cope with the growing population that would like to join the unions. Since it is a new phenomenon, it's doing very well. So we need really a lot of support from ITF, and we also need ITF to do more in mobilizing resources to ensure that a greater percentage of the workers in the informal economy are covered properly in terms of social security, in terms of insurance, in terms of other efforts like job security, so that workers in the informal sector either can be formalized to have contracts, or if they are going to work on their own as self-employed workers, then their working environment should be very conducive.